Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts, on Android. We recommend Spotify. Also, check out the Five Reasons YouTube channel for all your South Florida sports content. Inter Miami going from MLS Cup title. Also got the Dolphins. I don't know what they're going for at this point, but you can check that out as well. And of course, we'll be restarting a lot of our Panther coverage as people start to get back interested in that. Also, check out Off the Floor. That's our Discord server. We tell you all the time that the link is here in the description. You got to pay the $2.99 though to see all the channels, and we're adding channels. We're adding a contest channel. You must be subscribed to Off the Floor to be eligible for this. We're going to be running a contest over basically the next 24 hours to give away free League Pass subs to watch on playback with us. So it's pretty cool. This is worth a pretty decent amount of money, but you have to be subscribed to Off the Floor to be eligible. We'll be running the contest in that channel. We're actually going to be using a video that Brady and I did to sort of kick this thing off. So check it out. It's Off the Floor. Make sure you're subbed. Pay the $2.99. Also, check out Prize Picks. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down your $5. You get $50 to play right away. Again, that's $50 in lineups that'll be on the Explore page. Legal in the state of Florida. You can play NFL, NBA, NHL, and more. It's Prize Picks. If you see another code in there, delete it. Add 5, F-I-V-E. Get your 50 in lineups to play right away. And now, today's episode.
Uh-oh. Yeah. It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Trapco blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleeping paths or allowed to mornings. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reasons Sports from the court to the streets. Dang, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
Are 14-7, 14-7, and they're in the top 4 in the East. Depends on the day, but they're right there behind Detroit. They're with the Knicks. They're with Orlando. They're with Toronto, which has been a bit of a surprise. But as other teams have faded, the Heat are now 6th in the league in net rating. 6th in the league in net rating. That's a legitimately good basketball team. So that's where they're at right now. They've got a Wednesday trip to Dallas, team that they should handle if they take them seriously, although Anthony Davis is back and just had a big game. And Dallas did muck them up a lot defensively the last time that they played. And then coming back, they've got a game in Orlando. This is not the game for the NBA Cup quarterfinal. They play that one next week in Orlando. Magic are playing well without Paolo Banchero. Don't know if he's coming back Friday, but Desmond Bane has gotten it going. So that'll be a more challenging game. Of course, the Heat lost the season opener there. That one's coming up on Friday. And then Sacramento in on Saturday, and they are a disaster to the level of the Clippers. They're another example of wanting names, and sometimes names don't work. Maybe you actually have to build a roster. So I got Brady Hawk with me. You can follow me at Brady Hawk 305. The Heat have built a roster. It's a pretty damn good roster so far, and there's been a lot of conversation about Hero, about Powell, about that fit. Brady has a new article up on our On SI site. Make sure that you check that out. All of our guys are writing now for that site. And of course, there's always talk about Bam. There has not been as much conversation about the two players that we're going to talk about today. And I'm gonna pose this to you, and I did prep you on this, so you cannot say what Alex always says. There's no doubt that these two guys have been major about both of them as guys that have been too good to take out of the starting lineup. And so we're not doing a starting lineup topic today. But I'm just going to ask you this question. Don't say it's a tough question. Who has been more important to the Miami Heat so far this season? Is it Andrew Wiggins, the former number 1 overall pick, who seems to have found another home in his third home? Or is it Davion Mitchell, also in his third home, who never found a home until he got here. And now he is, in my view, playing at a level that only about 4 or 5 point guards in the Eastern Conference are playing at.
Yeah, so I won't say it's a tough question, but I will say I hate that you're making me pin these two guys against each other because they have been so good. It is, yeah. You're just forcing me to just, talk down on one of them. But no, I would say like recency bias. I just want to quickly mention that I think Wiggins has been insanely good for this new style of offense, especially with being bumped down as a primary option where he kind of went early in the season where he became a second or third option for a big stretch there. Now he's kind of back down to fourth, and it hasn't looked that way where he's kind of benefiting. It almost feels like the more good players they get back, the better Andrew Wiggins gets, just with the less attention and just the style of this offense. And I'll also mention, I think Wiggins has been one of the most underrated or the most underrated defender on this team by far, just because he's been that good. Davion gets his credit. Bam gets his credit. Wiggins has been outstanding defensively, and they've needed him because he's been guarding all 5 positions. With that said, I think consistently across the start of the season, it's Davion. I mean, Davion has just been that good. I was just looking at some of the numbers of his passing, because his passing, I mean, it's so crazy to say that when I'm bringing up Davion, I'm mentioning the offensive side of the ball first, because it hasn't been like that for the majority of his life. It's just been mentioning how good of a defender he is, which we'll get to that. But he's averaging – there's 15 players in the NBA averaging at least 7 assists. There's only one of those 15 guys that are averaging less than 2 turnovers, and that's Davion. And, I mean, you could go down the list even down to 6 assists and probably even lower, where nobody's averaging as little as turnovers that he is, with the amount of minutes that he gets, with the amount of touches that he gets, with the amount of assists that he gets. Like, he has been so under control and just so great in this new offense where he doesn't make a ton of mistakes. Like, it's like just getting the ball. Because a lot of this, too, is like a lot of these playmakers and passers are running these diverse offenses where it's getting downhill, making tough passes. It's not a knock on him. It's honestly, it's a jump to this offense and himself, but it's simple passes. It's simple reads. Like, it's not advanced stuff. He's not making the game difficult on himself. It's like, okay, if we're on the break, I'm going to make a quick hit-ahead pass here. If it's early clock offense, I'm going to drive quick, and I'm going to hit a trailer right behind me for a 3. And it's just simple reads he's making. He's acquiring these assists where, I mean, he was acquiring a good amount of assists last year, but it was a lot of pocket passes to Bam. It was a lot of stuff in the lane. This is just a different version of it. Then, I mean, you add in the defense. You add in what he's been able to do on that end, where he's guarding these elite players game after game. He's averaging, this is my, not a real stat, but it's my stat, but he's averaging a forced moving screen at least one every single game. Like, he's just been so good in that area where they're doing some of the switching now with this new starting lineup, and he has to size up on some of these other guys, and it never feel like he's at disadvantage. Yes, when he has Zubac on the block and everybody's complaining about the switching, yes, maybe it looks a little bad there. But other than that, he's been so good in that area of just forcing runs on that end of the floor. And then the biggest thing to me is that this guy is a legitimate, reliable three-point shooter. Yeah. I mean, these teams, I mean, I was wondering it in the offseason, but I'm watching it now, and it's like at some point, I mean, you can't really – you're still going to choose Davion shooting a 3 over Tyler or Norm, like, of course. Mm-hmm. But, like, at some point, the Sky Report's going to shift a little bit where they're not going to be able to help off Davion the way that they've been. Like, he's been that consistent where it's not even just off the catch. Like, he's been good off the catch, that if he's wide open off the catch, every time he shoots – I said this last night at the game – I think it's going in. Like, anytime that he puts the ball up from 3, like, I legitimately think it's going in every time. But he has that little, like, mini step back bounce where he goes off the dribble and he kind of gets in that little step back. He's been so money from so many different areas. And then the downhill ability, I think one of the biggest reasons why the starting lineup can work and why, like, it's just you don't usually say this with point guards. Like, I know Spo uses this word connector, where he's used it with Nico in the past, or he's used it with different guys in the past, where it's usually like these like tweener type players. You don't usually see smaller point guards being connectors, but that's what I kind of view Davion being, because when they need shooting, he's going to be the downhill physical threat that's going to put a shoulder into you to kind of force a kick out. Or if it's the opposite, he's going to get off the ball and he's going to be able to shoot. So I'm going to lean Davion in terms of this entire season of what they've needed, because he's just been so consistently good, and you just know what you're getting from him on a game-by-game basis.
Well, I did poll this morning. I was trying to find that. And the fans agree with you so far. Who's been more integral to the Heat's success so far? Davion at 87% and Wiggins at 13%, which again speaks to how good Mitchell's been, because Wiggins has been tremendous of late. I know he missed a couple games with the hip flexor, but other than that, I mean, he's been unbelievable. And you take a look at what Davion did last night. Again, just to look at some of the numbers. 16 points, made all 6 of his field goal attempts, including all 4 of his threes, 12 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and I was actually stunned that he had 2 turnovers. He had gone 6 quarters with 16 assists and no turnovers. 16 assists and no turnovers. This is a team that used to they had a clause in Tim Hardaway's contract that he hated. He also hated the fat clause, but he had a clause. We should get Timmy on. He had a clause in his contract for 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. Hated it. It was always an issue at the end of the year. He's a Hall of Famer. He had a 3-to-1. Davion is basically at a 5-to-1, close to 6-to-1 clip. And I get what you're saying. He's not making the kind of reads that Tim Hardaway used to have to make against that kind of defense. The defense in the late 90s obviously was quite a bit different. But he's making all these simple plays. And the thing is that Spoelstra couldn't have leaned into this philosophy and this system if he didn't trust his point guard to make those plays. So it all started with the trust. It's one thing for Andrew Wiggins, who, again, has been great. I want to talk more about him. A former number 1 overall pick who has found a way to be a second or third option on a championship team to find his way here. It's another thing for a guy who looked like he might be headed out of the league. Davion Mitchell was the worst offensive player in the NBA by the metrics in his rookie season. The worst. And now you're expecting him to get you, 12 points on efficient shooting, 7 or 8 assists, and 1 or 2 turnovers? And I'm looking at some of the guys that are in the Eastern Conference here. And I posted this today. I said top on 5 Reasons Twitter. 2 years, $24 million, has been a top 5 point guard in the East. So that seems like sort of a wild statement, right? So this is from DHM34 on Twitter. Initially disagreed with you, but you may be right. Some may disagree, but the best point guards so far this season, in no particular order. Brunson, okay, it's obvious. Maxey, Giddey, and do we consider Cade or Donovan Mitchell to be point guards? Is Donovan Mitchell a point guard? I don't. It's sort of the Dwayne thing, right?
Yeah, it's a little weird. Cade, I would say, yeah, but Donovan's a little weird.
Okay. Some may say Pritchard, Emmanuel Quickley, Jalen Suggs have been better. I'm a big Jalen Suggs fan. I mean, defensively, he's on Davion's level. But I don't know that he's been quite as impactful as Davion's been this year. I know some in Orlando may disagree with that. Now, Trey's been out, so that's, you sort of take him out of the equation. LaMelo is awful, so I take him out of the equation. But you can make this argument. You can absolutely make the argument, and that's why he's been so hard to pull from the starting lineup, which, again, is not the topic today. On the other side of this, though, I want to get to Wiggins because they're in different contract situations. Davion's locked in. If Davion was having this kind of season, you're not re-signing him for 2 years and $24 million, man. You're not. This is an $18 to $20 million a year player right now. He's who they got for $12 million. That's the level that he's playing at. But I want you to get into Wiggins here a little bit more on the other side. So we're going to do that because I don't want to short shrift him, but I think it does make the point that Davion has been exceptional. What is he shooting from 3 right now? What's his percentage? Because I said he couldn't replicate 45, and I was hoping for 35.
He is at 40.4%.
Right in the middle. I mean, look, anything over 35 to me was a win. And you mentioned it. When he gets to that step back and he gets his feet set, it reminds me of another Heat point guard. You know what I'm thinking of? So we always compare to the Europeans. It reminds me of Goran. When Goran would step back into the 3 and he'd get his feet set, you're like, that's in. When he was a little off balance or trying to force things, no. And the thing with Davion is it's either he gets his feet set and it's going in, or it is wide right or wide left. He's had some real weird air balls this year. But when he is set, it's in. I mean, that's pretty much the way it's been this season. All right. You know what you need to get set? Your money, okay? Cash App. is the place that you want to go to do this. And we tell you this all the time. All of us on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, we are signed up with Cash App, everybody at 5 on the floor. And this is a particularly important time to do this, okay? Because scammers know that the holidays are busy for everyone, which makes us all targets for scams. That's why Cash App builds in protection to help keep your money safe while you're checking off your shopping list. If you're about to send money to someone for a deal that's too good to be true and Cash App flags it as a potential scam, they'll warn you before you send the money. Like, for instance, like they should have warned the Clippers not to send Norm Powell, or Toronto not to send Davion Mitchell, but Cash App wasn't involved in that. They should be involved with you. Cash App also gives you an extra layer of protection with features like security lock. You can require a PIN, Face ID, or fingerprint to unlock your account and move money. So even if someone gets a hold of your unlocked phone at the holiday party, like somebody got a hold of Barry Jackson's Twitter, your money is right where you left it. Gift yourself some peace of mind this holiday season and download Cash App. Also, for a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. Just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10. That's secure in the number 10 in your profile. Send $5 to a friend within 14 days. You get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a blocking brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for more information. Okay, so let's get back to Wiggins here, because the conversation with nobody's talking about trading Davion Mitchell. Okay, I mean that's just too good an investment. I mean, 2 years, $24 million, and he's not going to be anywhere else what he is here. So nobody's going to make you the kind of offer that he would be worth for the way he's playing. The Wiggins stuff is still out there. It's still being pushed by LA, I feel like, by people around the Lakers. The way he's playing right now, is he too valuable to trade for this particular team? I mean, I'm not trading him for future assets, by the way. I'm not doing that, okay? But there's been, there were conversations about, well, I guess one would be a first-round pick from the Lakers or something along those lines, and you plug in somebody like Rui Hachimura. I mean, should we even be talking about this at this point? I mean, don't they need to keep him? Or because Alex has been concerned about his fit at times, but it sounds like you're past it.
Yeah, I actually really like his fit with this team right now. Just the defensive part of it, because if you don't play Davion in a lineup, he could size down, but there's been points where they're going 3 guard lineups and it's Wiggins sizing up. And defensively, he's just been so good in that area. It's like some of the games he's guarding an elite guard, but then last night you see him guarding Kawhi. And I know Kawhi got going for a part there, but he was really good on Kawhi early in that game. Like, he was not able to get to his spots at all. But offensively is the big thing about the fit. And it's funny because I really do feel like he's fit into this. Like I said earlier, I think he's been better with the more players they've gotten back, like with the more attention some of these other guys. And it was kind of something I was talking about last night with some of the questions, is that with the attention on Tyler and Powell, and Powell was saying, they're going to put their two best defenders on us too, and they're going to face guard us. So what that does is it opens up the slots, and it opens up for Davion, Bam, and Wiggins. And that's what you saw last night early in the game. It was those 3 guys that were pretty much the entire offense. We were talking about it, that Hero and Powell didn't even barely have any touches earlier in that game. And this, I just think it's better on Wiggins when that stuff happens, that he could kind of be this downhill threat. The other thing is the transition thing. I mean, I didn't really see it either, but he's been very good in the early offense style, where like he'll catch the ball and he'll go. Like he'll shoot with 16 seconds left in the shot clock, where he can attack one-on-one. There's the other element of this where he's just like, it's not always, it's like playing off his own misses. Like there was the one play where he shot it in the middle of the floor over Harden. He just got his own rebound and laid it back in, where he's been so like active on the offensive boards, where he's almost like a gritty 3-and-D guy, like in a lot of ways. Like he's just kind of like been this workhorse where it's not all clean looks. It's not all like shot creation type things. He's just been so valuable. He's been a valuable player for this team. And I seriously think when he looks the way he did last night, and he has as of late, this team it looks like a completely different team. Like if he comes out the game, he's the aggressor for multiple quarters, where he's the guy that kind of shifts the defense, and you don't have to even think about Tyler and Powell yet. Like that is the outlook. Like that is what you want to see with this team. So to answer your question, I'm kind of past that. I think you're not trading Wiggins for future assets or doing that type of stuff. I think this team is playing too well. There's too much chemistry. There's too much stuff going on that you just don't break this type of team up to.
Well, that's the other part, because usually I'm not, because I mean you're focusing on the basketball there, which I get completely, But there is that other element, which I'm always concerned about. And like, if you traded him right now with the way that his teammates seem to feel about him, you see the way that Powell talks about him, the way that Bam talks about him. I don't think you can do that. I think at this point you're riding this out. And he has proven he can do it in big moments. His numbers in clutch situations this year are great. His mid-range numbers are great. I think that if you take a look at his future with the team in a year from now, it may look different as they sort of reshape it. But I think for right now, you can't move him. And the other part of this is everybody's always in a hurry to give somebody else a bigger role. And like with Jaime, like if you trade Wiggins, then you're changing Jaime's role again, I think. And I know there was some like, oh, give Jaime even more responsibility and all that. But Jaime's just fine in his role right now. And we've actually seen Jaime come back to earth a little bit over the past couple of games. I think it's better to have the Wiggins security blanket there. There's a night that Wiggins doesn't have it, then I think Jaime gets some of those late reps. But I don't think that this needs to be done right now. And the other thing is he fits. He seems to fit personally now. Like he's enjoying himself. He's smiling. He's been part of this group. He had the big game winner, obviously, with the dunk off the inbounds. I think that also elevated him in some ways. I wouldn't touch it. I really wouldn't. I know Heat fans will be like, sell high. That's what they always say, and then you're going to regret it later. But I don't necessarily believe in selling high when the team is 14-7 and has a week where they could advance on that record. I don't see the point. There's still decisions to be made regarding Hero and Powell and the extensions and all that, but I wouldn't move Wiggins right now, unless you got a great offer, which I don't think that you're going to get, and so I don't even think it's a consideration. All right, so let me ask you this then, and we'll close with this. For which of the two do you think it's more sustainable? What we've seen so far.
Honestly, funny enough, I think it's both. Like these are two guys that I think are sustainable play styles, but I would probably say it's tough. Probably Davion, just because I think we've seen Wiggins go in and out of this a little bit, where there's been games where he's not as aggressive. Like right now, he's really in a flow where you want to see this kind of keep up. But like there's been times where he's taken, that back seat, and what happens then if he's taking that back seat as a off the catch shooter, then you're back to all the attention on Tyler and Powell, and you're kind of back to where we were before. So Davion can kind of do this no matter what. I mean, the reason why I think the knock on him would be what we've been saying for the last year and a half, which it doesn't seem like it's ever going to come, is like, oh, he's going to just drop back down and not be able to shoot anymore. like the shooting's just going to all of a sudden fall off the map. Well, that doesn't happen. And it's been a long sample size now where that's not going to happen. He's just a good shooter. He's a good open set shooter. And teams can't really make that type of adjustment, because if they do and start closing out on him hard, then he's going to get really into his game. And then it's downhill drives to where he wants to be, and it's kick out plays. So I think he's right where he wants to be. I think this is extremely – I mean, maybe Davion is, what you said before, a 5-1, 6-1, assist to turnover ratio isn't realistic. But as I said earlier, these aren't complex reads. These aren't like these type of plays where you're going to say like, oh, it's eventually going to drop off. I think that is actually extremely sustainable. Maybe the part that maybe is not sustainable is the assist numbers. If he's making those passes and the guys next to him aren't making their shots, like it's like, okay, right, the offense is falling off a little bit. Like that's the only way I could see that possibly falling off the map. The defense isn't going anywhere for either one of them. So honestly, I think it's I would lean Davion, but I think the plus to that question is I'm not strong on either, because I think both of them are pretty consistent with their roles. It's hard to be, not unsustainable when you're two that good of defenders, like, right, because you're always going to be valuable. Like you're always going to be needed, even if the 3-point shooting takes a little bit of a dip, even if turnovers increase for either one of them. Like the defense, they're going to be closing games just because they're that valuable defensively for this team.
Well, and Davion seems to know what his limitations are, which is great. And he knows his limitations, but then he's increasing his strengths. So that's positive. Our guy, Trilly, who I know you're familiar with, he put this out there on the bottom of that tweet. And it's an interesting one because Davion is a lot younger than these players were when they popped. But he's like, could we be seeing like it took Kyle Lowry 3 teams to find a team. Early in his career, he was a first-round picked after Davion was picked, obviously a lot earlier in terms of years, who didn't really work out that well in Memphis and Houston. At times he did, but not completely, not really until he got to Toronto. And another one he mentioned, and I know this name is toxic right now, but he was a hell of a player, is Chauncey Billups, who was traded from Boston because he wasn't any good, and he went to Denver, he went to Detroit, and became a Hall of Fame level player. So I'm not saying Davion Mitchell is going to be a Hall of Fame level player. I'm just saying that sometimes point guards take a minute. They take a minute. And you're seeing a guy who is fit into the perfect system, and he's always going to play because of his defense. So they've both been great. I don't really think teams are going to scheme them out. To me, this team, as long as they're defending at a top 5 level, and they are, I know people don't think so because they see the high scores, but they're still in the top 5 in defensive rating. And these are 2 of the 3 players that are most responsible for that. So that's going to continue. Okay. The shooting variance, I think, may be there. And I think you and I agree on that. All right. Check out Brady's work on SI. Also check out our sponsors, Secure 10 Cash App Prize Picks. Use the code 5 FIVE. We're going to do this on this episode, but I went long as I always do. We're going to have our debut of Two-Way Talk. It's going to be attached to our next episode. I got a chance to sit down with Jameer Young, a two-way hopeful for the Heat, to take you behind the scenes of his process, everything that goes into being a two-way player. That's going to be a weekly segment on 5 on the Floor. We got a chance to do it in person yesterday. I felt bad for Jameer because I think he would have played, or we might have got a chance to at least get in the last minute, but he flew in and he wasn't active. But we're going to be doing that segment regularly coming up. Have a good day, everybody.